This is VSiN PrimeTime. Live from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Hour 4 of VSiN PrimeTime alongside Matt Youmans. I'm Tim Murray. Gone final in Memphis, 117-103. The final score. The Celtics come back and get the victory over the Memphis Grizzlies. We've got the final Elite Eight game on the women's side of things. UConn went off as a 14.5-point favorite against the USC Trojans without Juju Watkins. And right now, Paige Beckers and company lead 27-19. First half line in that one was 8.5. Earlier tonight, Texas punched their ticket to the Final Four, where they will face South Carolina. So you'll have an SEC showdown, I believe, on that side of the bracket. UCLA gets the winner of UConn and USC. The men's Final Four, Matt, of course, gets going on Saturday. We got Duke Houston in the nightcap in San Antonio. First up, an SEC showdown as Auburn takes on Florida. Worth noting this. The SEC has gone over, or if they haven't gone over yet, I think they will regardless of the outcome on Saturday. Their win total, they've set the record for most wins in an NCAA tournament. I believe they're at 21 now. I'll have to double check that. But what's interesting about the ACC, Matt, if you bet over ACC wins, it was 6.5. Duke is going to get it there if they beat Houston almost by themselves. The North Carolina win over San Diego State, the only other win for the conference, but they still might get over their win total of 6.5 just because of Duke.
I looked at the ACC win total before the tournament and said, well, I think Duke's going to win 6. You know, you like to bet this under, but I do think Duke's going to win 6, and you would think Duke is at least going to win 4 or 5. So I stayed away from that ACC win total. Duke, a very popular pick in our Circuit College Hoops Challenge in the tiebreaker round when we all picked the Final Four and the national champ before the tournament.
Yep. Let's run through it. So once again, the Circuit College Hoops Challenge, only 3 picks left, 4 points available, though, out there. We will have a best bet for the Final Four, 2 selections. You'll hear those picks on VSiN Primetime on Friday, and then we'll have a championship bet, which will be released on the website on Monday, and Matt and JVT next Monday night we'll be going through those plays as well. Paul Stone, the leader in the clubhouse, but the gap shortened. JVT 2-1 and hit his best bet in the Elite Eight. Paul Stone showed that he was human. 0-3. He is 6-1-1 in his best bets, and I have a very, 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 very long shot to come home and win this contest as I sit at 25-21 and 128 points. I'd have to go undefeated, and Paul Stone would have to go winless again, which wouldn't be great. But what we could have, Matt, is we could have a tiebreak between me and JVT or someone else for maybe second place to get that coveted Dom DeMarco's. Good Lord, did they just have a technical in that game and miss both free throws?
No, I made the first, miss the second.
So tiebreakers, as you mentioned, it was 1 point for each of the Final Four participants and 3 points if you get the champion correct.
That sounds right.
Yeah, and we got the rules right up here. So pick the Final Four teams, 1 point per team, national champion, 3 points. So
we're going to have tiebreakers, you would think, apply to the second place winner, right?
Yeah, very possible.
With the Dom DeMarco's Pizzeria and Bar gift card. And let's go ahead and take a look at Paul Stone's tiebreaker picks. Again, Paul's got a 2-point lead. He hopes he doesn't need the tiebreaker to win this contest. The past 2 champions of this contest were Will Hill in 2023 and David Deneen a year ago. Paul Stone's tiebreaker picks is Final Four Michigan State. No, sorry, didn't get there. Duke, Houston, and his national champ, Florida. So he's got 3 of the 4 with the Gators as his champions.
Jonathan Von Tobel had St. John's, did not get there, but had Duke. He had Houston, and his champ is Auburn. So JBT already 3 points banked for the tiebreaker, but that's important to note because for me, Matt, I've got Auburn. I had Houston. I had Texas Tech, loser, unfortunately. And then I had Duke. So it could come down to maybe me and JVT for that tiebreaker for that $200 to Dom DeMarco's, and Duke or Auburn could be the differentiator between me and Mr. Von Tobel.
Yeah, JVT and I both had St. John's in the Final Four. My national champ is Duke. Let's see, I had Auburn, Duke, St. John's, and Tennessee. 2 out of 4, obviously. And you were so close to having all 4. Auburn, Houston, Duke, and Texas Tech. And it looked like Tech was going to get there. You had to feel really good about that. Will Hill, 2023 champ. He's in the mix here. Don't count out Will Hill. He's been hot and making a real run at this thing.
Us Gingers are resilient, baby.
Will Hill had Florida, Houston, national champ Duke. And he went with a wild card, long shot, Cinderella. UC San Diego did not get there, but I give him credit for the guts to pick UC San Diego to go to the Final Four.
By the way, you mentioned Will Hill. What a performance he had in the Sweet 16. Perfect 6-0 for Will Hill. It was funny. I was exchanging texts with him. He had a very rough, as many of us did, first round. He went 3-9. I went 4-8. But he has bounced back 6-0 week 7, which was the Sweet 16, and then he went 2-1. And almost got it home with Florida -6.5, but he was on the VSiN Weekend Morning Line, Matt, on Saturday morning. We went over his Elite 8 plays, and he was like, I'm laying chalk. He laid it with Houston, laid it with Duke, and laid it with Florida. So right now, Will Hill not too far back. I believe he has the same record as I do, but the best bets are pushing him down just a little bit. Yeah, he's 25-21-1. I'm 25-21-1 as well. However, I am 5-3 on the best bets. Will Hill at 3-5, but Will certainly could work his way up to second place. I don't think it's mathematically possible. It is not. He has been eliminated from chance to win it. So the 2023 champ will not win it this year, but could come in second place and get that Dom DeMarco's.
He's got a family to feed, too.
He does. He's got lots of kids.
JVT, Tim Murray, Will Hill, all got kids and wives to feed up there at the top. What's that $200 gift card
baby.
From Dom DeMarco? So the 2 handicappers who each had the number 1 seeds filling out the Final Four. Greg Hoops Peterson, who took the chance to brag about it on Twitter last night. Hoops Peterson and David Dineen, the defending champ. You would think he's more of an underdog player. He fights for the little guy. He played at Cal Poly. He took all the powerhouse number 1 seeds, Auburn, Duke, Houston, as national champ, Florida.
Yeah, we were...
looking through the 15 handicappers here, Tim, Will Hill is the only one who picked a team outside of a number 2 seed to go to the Final Four.
Hey, man,
it's all number 1 and 2 seeds.
I got a little breaking news here, and may impact how we want to bet this game. Georgetown has just tweeted this out. Due to a health incident that impacted several members of the team, Georgetown is playing with a limited roster tonight. That was just tweeted out. So interesting to note. Georgetown coming up in just a little bit.
Did you get your bet in before you read that?
I did not.
You need to bet before you read that information.
I'm a man of the people here. I'm trying to help people out. By the way, our friends over at Stations Casino have it as their game of the night, where you get a 10% multiplier. So I'm going to go ahead and do that one right now.
That's some good information right there. That tells you Georgetown in maybe dire straits tonight. And what do you think, is food poisoning, or what would that be?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it was. I was just about to name a hotel over there. I'll refrain from utilizing or diminishing any of that.
I just got in at Washington State plus 2.5. What'd you get?
I did money line plus 125 with a 10% kicker there at the old Stations Casino. Maybe I'll take a little on the point spread as well, as that number still sits at 2.5. So,
well, you get that information. Doesn't guarantee you're going to win the bet, obviously, but that's good info, and that's something I think actionable information, wouldn't you say?
Yes, and we'll see how it all plays out. But Georgetown, because I did tweet out, and there's a couple of folks, and I'll just give a little credit. There's a couple of people I saw on Twitter. Matt Gajewski. Gajewski. He's got a thread on social media at Matt_Gajewski, because I was curious, Matt, and you and I do this a lot during the bowl season, keep tracks of opt-outs. this is sort of bowl season-esque now. It's not as a physical sport as football, but you got portal stuff, you got all that going on as we get a 3-pointer in Nebraska and Arizona State.
This game's really heating up. 8:44 to go, 58-58. We got a tie at the MGM Grand Garden Arena between Nebraska and Arizona State.
And but I wanted to know who's going to keep tabs on this, and I've gotten a couple of folks chiming in there, letting me know. Also, a gentleman by the name of Corby B.O. Has got a thread going on social media. So worth keeping an eye on it. This is, you wonder about motivation. I'll tell you what, I did not bet Boise State, but that was a pretty strong performance today by the Broncos and could be a bet on team here in Vegas in this Crown tournament.
Boise, I would think Boise and Villanova are got to be two of the top teams because Villanova's got Eric Dixon. Nobody's got a player better than Eric Dixon in this tournament, but Villanova's got some other issues, obviously. A lot of issues with that team. I think Boise was probably the rightful favorite. Tim, the best I saw it, there was about 5-1 to win this tournament.
Yeah, I was seeing
plus 480.
Yeah, I was seeing yesterday. I was going to get in on it, and it was like 4-1. So I decided not to ultimately get in on that one. So, all right, we'll see if this information comes home or if I'll be sending you angry tweets or texts.
Well, if it loses, it's your fault. So. All right, so that's all on Tim Murray in the late game tonight.
Oh, man. So, yes, we will see how this all plays out. Washington State right now, I don't know if there's any threes out there on this game. And
I see 2.5 is the best number out there.
And the market just moved to 1.5, or to 1. So there you go. Come on, Cougars. Let's get it home there. Speaking of college hoops, what do you say we talk to Bruce Marshall? He'll join us next, give us his thoughts on the Final Four. If he's betting any of these tournaments, we'll hit on that with Bruce next. It is VSiN Primetime.
This is VSiN Primetime on VSiN, the sports betting network.
It is VSiN Primetime alongside Matt Youmans. I am Tim Murray, about to get underway at Chavez Ravine. I believe it has already got underway. The Dodgers looking to continue their perfect season, the quest for perfection, Matt. Will they get to 162-0? Will we put up numbers yet? No, you don't think that's going to happen? We also saw the opening day in Sacramento as it was a packed house to see the Cubs put up 4 runs to the top of the first inning against the Oakland Athletics. We will talk a little bit more baseball as the show goes on. The Crown heating up, Matt, under 8 media timeout. Arizona State leading 59-58. Both you and I have a little bit of over money on this game. I'm at over 156. I think you've got a better number than I do. Was it 154.5?
Okay, let's go. We got a guest waiting.
We do have a guest. All right, let's head to our progressive guest line. Bring in Bruce Marshall, who joins us right now, courtesy of that progressive guest line. Bruce, we got the Crown going on. We got the NIT semifinals coming up tomorrow. So let's jump to the NIT semifinals. These games, for those who do not know, will be played at Hinkle Fieldhouse, the home of the Butler Bulldogs. North Texas, their head coach, is moving on to greener pastures. However, he's going to stay on to coach the NIT semifinals. North Texas right now, a small 1.5-point favorite. Total 128 against the Anteaters of UC Irvine tomorrow night.
Yeah, and my favorite venue in college hoops, Matt knows all about it. He grew up right by there. He's been to Hinkle many times.
Hinkle Fieldhouse, yep.
It is my favorite place. It really, really is great. So they played at these games here last year, so it really is nice. This is now turned into sort of like the mid-major tournament now, because this is they're all mid-majors in here now, so that's sort of neat. You're right. Tomorrow night, Ross Hodge has taken a West Virginia job. I think they've already got the Cleveland State coach Robinson coming in, but Hodge will stay for the tournament here for the NIT, which means the ghost of Bo Schembechler is not in Denton, Texas. Remember what he did with Bill Frieder in '89. Got rid of him when Frieder was going to ASU, and then he promoted Steve Fisher, and they won the NC2A title, and there you go. However, North Texas, Hodge, he plays this team won the tournament 2 years ago, won the NIT when it was here in Las Vegas at the Orleans. And that's when Grant McCaslin left after that to go to Texas Tech. They promoted Hodge. They played the same way they did under McCaslin. It's a defense-first team. This team does not score that much, but the defense is always there. He did a great job in the portal because they lost almost everybody from last year, including Jason Edwards went to Vanderbilt. They've been getting through by the skin of their teeth the last couple rounds against Arkansas State and Oklahoma State. UCI, though, the defense isn't all that bad. Actually, pretty good. Field goal percentage defense, top 10. Ben Luchin, the big 7'2" German down low. This is a little different than most Big West teams. They're physical. And with Luchin and Devin Tillis not afraid to bang in the paint. They've got some balance of 4 double-digit scorers. I think this one might go under. That's my first thought there. And I might lean to UCI a little bit. They're on the verge of their first ever major tournament win. I mean, they got to the CIT final, I think, about a decade ago. But this is big stuff here. And I think Irvine, a little bit more offense. I think they can win this one in a lower scoring game.
All right, Bruce Marshall with us, former Gold Sheet handicapper with CBS Sportsline. Bruce, do you know how old Sister Jean is now?
Sister Jean, she was 98 when they went to the Final Four. I'm going to say she's 105, and maybe she was 97 then.
How good is Bruce Marshall? 105. Sister Jean is 105, and her Loyola basketball team is here in the NIT Final Four as well. Chattanooga, Loyola, the other game. You like UC Irvine plus 1.5. How about Chattanooga and Loyola with Loyola laying 2.5 to Chattanooga, total of 148. Did you think of playing anything in that semi?
Chattanooga. I don't cheer for Loyola. My daughter went to school there, and they were not nice on the tuition to me. And you know what? I thought being Catholic, they'd give me a little break on the tuition. No, not to be. No, I like a UTC here. I mean, they have been doing. This is the toughest road, I think, of any of these teams into the NIT Final Four. They were the underdog in each one of these games. They've been out on the road twice. I mean, they had to fight back at Bradley from a big deficit. Dayton was like the favorite in this tournament. They beat them. That game was at home. They won in triple overtime at Middle Tennessee. Dan Earl, they got pretty good balance, and some guys, some former VMI transfers. Honor Huff, the guard, little guy. Trey Bonham used to be at VMI, scoring about 23 per game in the last 3. Bash Whelan came in from Bellarmine, really bruising a big guard. No fear with these guys. I know Loyola looked good against Kent State, but I thought Kent State froze in that game. They were very fortunate to get by San Jose and USF on the road. I'm taking Chattanooga here. They're a slight dog, and they've been winning these games as a dog. In fact, I think Chattanooga might win this tournament, so I'm going to take the moving Mocs.
Tim and I have been really focused on this college basketball crown tournament tonight. Really good game, first of all, today with Butler taking down Utah 86-84. Boise State blew out George Washington. We get a tight one now headed down the stretch between Nebraska and Arizona State, and a late one tonight between Georgetown and Washington State. And Tim, repeat that information you had again last segment, because this number is dropping rapidly in the market.
Yeah, Georgetown just tweeted out, due to a health incident that impacted several members of the team, Georgetown playing with a limited roster this evening, and the market has responded as that number has dropped to 1 from 2.5. So Georgetown already dealing with some injuries. Sorker, who is their best player, he is out with an injury. So Georgetown shorthanded tonight. We don't know exactly who they will be without or with, but that was an interesting tweet from Georgetown just a moment ago.
I mean, it sounds like a food poisoning type of deal or something like that, some sort of flu with the team. Bruce, I know you're watching today's games too. You watch all these and you handicap, bet all these minor tournaments. How about Tuesday in the college basketball crown at MGM Grand Garden? DePaul, Cincinnati, Oregon State, Central Florida, Colorado, Villanova, Tulane, USC. Anything jump out to you on Tuesday?
Well, by the way, Georgetown, here's another Jesuit school. And if they did the right thing, they'd tell us where the boys ate. so we don't go there to get sick.
There you go.
So I mean, they should do that, but they don't. Tomorrow in the Crown, interesting there. The UCF Oregon State game is very interesting because both those coaches are going to be on the hot seat next year, I think, and that's Dawkins and Wayne Tinkle. Oregon State surprised me some this year. There were some games they looked very good, and then some games they were kind of flat. But I don't have a lot of faith in UCF. As long as Rataj is going to play, I think Oregon State has a shot in that game. Villanova, they're going to have a new coach coming in. We know about that with Kevin Willard. So I just wonder, though, they were so erratic with Kyle Neptune. Willard's not there yet. Colorado with Tad Boyle, it was not a stellar season for Colorado by any means, but the tough Big 12, they were playing better at the end of the season. And as long as all their guys there, and I believe they are, Hammond, not a bad guard. I think I would not trust Villanova there. I think SC is going to win this tournament. There's been very little of any outflow significantly for Eric Musselman in the portal. The Trojans at times looked pretty good this season in their tough debut year in the Big Ten. They also have this tremendous over streak here going. I think it's 20-4 now, back into early December, total about 156.5 tomorrow night. I'd actually opt for that first, and maybe SC minus the point second. That is kind of a hefty number. Tulane's had a player transfer out, though. I don't know. Some of these guys who are in the portal are still sticking around here, so I'm not sure Cam Williams is not going to play tomorrow for Tulane. But nonetheless, over is the first call for me in that one tomorrow. That might be. I'll just keep playing SC over. I'm glad they were playing somewhere in the postseason. That was one of my favorite trends the last month of the regular season.
Bruce, we got a minute left. Final four. Anything already in your account for the Final Four?
Yeah, I'm going to give Florida a shot. When they took out Auburn earlier in the year, it was at Auburn. Auburn was at its hottest this season. They had won 14 straight, number one in the country, and they just couldn't slow down. Florida in that game. Broom's arm, even if it's his off arm, he was playing with one wing after he got hurt. That had better be much better for Saturday. But even with him, 100%, they lost the first game. Florida has the length and the depth to deal with these guys, and I think Florida probably wins. I don't like to take Duke, but I think they're going to beat Houston. I think they can play over the top of that Houston defense. It's not just Cooper Flagg. These other guys, Knuppel, Malowak down low, those other freshmen are good. Proctor had a big game against Bama. They really dissected Bama. Duke probably wins. I think we're getting a Duke-Florida final on Monday night.
He's Bruce Marshall. Always appreciate his insight. Bruce, thank you, sir.
Okay, boys. Have fun.
There he is, Bruce Marshall, joining us courtesy of our Progressive
He is right about that.
line.
Hinkle Fieldhouse in Indianapolis might be the best venue in all of college basketball.
It'll be on display tomorrow night for the NIT semifinals. Once again, interesting news coming out of the Crown. We'll get you that on the other side of the break. It is VSiN PrimeTime.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Are you ready to take your sports betting to the next level? The Sharp Plays at sharpplays.com is your secret weapon. Since 2011, they've been building trusted relationships with major sports books and sports insiders worldwide. They provide daily updates on what top professional sports bettors and betting groups are wagering on, so you're always ahead of the game. But that's not all. They've just launched a cutting-edge AI betting analyst that provides even more selections and reports, giving you the edge you need to win. The best part, you can check out the Sharp Plays free content anytime. Get real betting action reports, alerts, and more through email and X directly from the pros. You can also check out their records, detailed online logs at sharpplays.com. With Sharp Plays, you're joining a team that's never had a losing season. So what do you have to lose? sharpplays.com. Alongside Matt Youmans, I'm Tim Murray. Mr. Youmans, you want to give an update on what's happening just down the road at the MGM Grand Garden Arena?
Well, I'm feeling better about the Nebraska-Boise moneyline parlay part of it because Nebraska's now up 875-67, 139 to go. As far as the total of 154.5, 155,
Yeesh.
Yeah, we got a long ways to go. I really thought that Bobby Hurley should have started fouling before this possession because he let Nebraska run the shot clock down to, 3 or 4? And then Bryce Williams got fouled. You just wasted 25 seconds on the clock. You got to foul. It's kind of the strategy we talked about with Todd Golden in Florida against Texas Tech.
Yeah, fouled early.
I think you got to foul early, try to extend the game, especially when you got the better team, extend the game, give you more chances to make the comeback. What fuels a meltdown? Late game meltdown, it's always going to be missed free throws and turnovers against pressure. And right there, Arizona State just missed a wide open layup. How the hell did he miss that layup? Sun Devils got a foul now if they want to make this comeback.
Yes.
Nebraska got back-to-back layups over. 79-67. We got 146 points. You need
some threes here.
Need 9 more.
Pull.
You're going to have a 3 right now, and he's doing a lot of dribbling.
And we got a foul.
He auditioned for the Globetrotters right there and got fouled on his way to the rim. Kick it out for an open 3. Come on, man. You can't play basketball. It's selfish basketball. Kick it out to an open 3-point shooter. By the way, when you're down 12 with 107 to go, Tim, 2s are not going to make it.
No, you don't think so?
No, you need 3s. And he was driving to the rim there to get the foul. So I guess you still got a slight chance this could get over the total, but you're going to have a 3-point make by Arizona State on the next possession just so the Sun Devils feel like they're alive and maybe they foul. This is the end games that you play when you bet college basketball. 79-69. We are now 148. You need 6 more points essentially to get there, 7 more points to get there, and 107 to go. Wouldn't be the worst thing here to have Nebraska turn the ball over and Arizona State score.
Give a little hope.
Yep.
A little hope
Give
for
the Sun Devils a little hope that they should keep fouling and extend this game. So, got a shot anyway.
Yeah, you gotta love it. It's March 31st. Bobby Hurley's out there screaming at his players.
Oh man, he was screaming at the refs during the timeout. He was furious at the refs. No surprise from a Hurley.
No, not at all. One's actually good, and one is not so good though. Let's revisit this real quickly. A little information coming in courtesy of their own social media feed. Georgetown letting us know, due to a health incident that impacted several members of the team, Georgetown playing with a limited roster this evening. Matt, we told folks of this knowledge. We both took the 2.5. The number 2.5 hung out there for a little bit. Right now, over our shoulder here at Circa, Georgetown now an underdog. Washington State -1. So the market has come in on this information. As we've always said, and you stated as well, information doesn't mean we're getting a winner, but hopefully we were able to grab the good enough number, which was 2.5 at the time of this tweet that was put out there.
Foul.
And what are we doing?
Arizona State's got a foul. What are you doing here?
Oh, my God. And
the guard fell down. What was that? Now, the Nebraska guard,
this is comical.
Was that Hoiberg's kid?
Hoiberg just fell.
He just fell down. Fell on his butt and lost the ball. That was like what you would see from an 8-year-old. He fell down and lost the ball, and Arizona State runs him for a layup, gets fouled on the way up. So Sun Devils keeping the total alive here if you bet the over. We need these 2 free throws here, though, Tim. 79-69, 54 seconds to go, and the first free throw is no good, of course. Come on.
I don't know if we're going to get there. I don't know if we'll get there.
Well, that didn't help.
No.
I can tell you that. You got to make this free throw.
You got Arizona State
First of all, you had a breakaway dunk. It turns into a foul, and we got an offense.
All right, that works.
Rebounded the missed free throw, put it back in, 79-71.
We need fouls.
You're at 150 points.
There's a
total of 155.
Foul.
You got a foul right there.
What are we doing? Oh,
that's
travel.
Wow. Bryce Williams can't believe the call, but Arizona State's going to get the ball with 49 seconds to go. It's an 8-point game. Come on, we need this over the total of 155.
This would be a miracle over.
Arizona State, drive the baseline there. He's giving it to you.
Yeah.
That's a long 3. That barely hits the rim. Now you got a foul right away. Foul Bryce Williams. He's a good free throw shooter. Here we go. 42 seconds to go. 79.
Gotta love. See, this is why VSiN's the best. because it's March 31st. You might be thinking, oh, what are you guys going to talk about? We're sweating out the crown, baby. That's what's going on right now. Oh, my goodness gracious.
Got a Boise winner. Got a Boise, Nebraska moneyline parlay winner. Now I need to get this over the total of 155.
I want to get our. I know we've hit our limit on
Bryce Williams. By the way, 89% from the line. He's missed 2 tonight, 5 for 7. And he misses
3.
a third.
Yep, there it is.
5 for 8. Come on.
I know we've hit our limit on a particular pro bettor out of San Diego, but the Los Angeles Dodgers have jumped out to an early lead. Teoscar Hernandez just hit a absolute bomb to center field. So the Dodgers 5-0 off to a good start here. All right, we need a 3 or go to the bucket, get fouled, something happened.
Wide open 3. Come on, get it. Yeah, he had it. Nothing but net. 80-74 timeout. Arizona State with 32 seconds to go. How about that?
It's never under until it's over, right? Isn't that Brent's saying?
Before the last time out, by the way, Circa was putting up live lines throughout this game because there's a lot of people here in the sports book. Take my word for it. Lots of them out there watching this game. Doug Kazarian's out there. You see Doug out there in the booth?
Doug.
He's betting this game. The live number was Nebraska 7, -7. Nebraska closed a 6-point favorite tonight. 6.5 here at Circa. Dropped from went from 6 to 6.5 right at tip off. Live number was 7 before that timeout. Nebraska was just up, 12?
Yep.
And now it's a 6-point game.
Which gives us more hope for fouling.
There's got to be a foul. You got to foul right away. You got to try to get a steal and a foul. 80-74.
What was your number?
154.5.
All right, I'm at 156. So a foul of Bryce Williams would be nice. So the worry I have is if you foul and he only makes 1 and then Arizona State comes up empty, then do they not foul again? That's the worry.
Right.
We will see. It's the and that's the beauty too of the NCAA tournament. Tournaments like this it is their last game of the season. So do they just keep fouling and fouling and fouling? And you've seen that certainly. By the way, here at Circa, Washington State now -2 juiced. So we've seen a movement of 4.5 points.
I got to give you props for that. You were the first one to jump on this info, and I didn't even know it when you mentioned it on the show. So the health issue with the Georgetown basketball team. So I jumped on the app and took Washington State plus 2.5.
Yep.
At that time, there were plenty of 2.5s out there. Now it's flipped all the way to Washington State -2.
Well, we got CLV. We'll bring in the trophy tomorrow when Georgetown wins by 10. We'll just have the CLV trophy. All right, I'm going to let Matt focus on this. Let's do a little read here for you guys. Just a reminder, we've got a great offer going on over at VSiN.com. You would have seen Matt's Moneyline Parlay that he put into the picks page. If you are a VSiN Pro subscriber, VSIN.com/subscribe to check out all the offers we have. VSiN.com/subscribe. For as little as $9.99. Matt, update us on the total watch in Nebraska, Arizona State.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, on VSiN Pro page, I put Boise State -8, and I put Arizona State, Nebraska over 154.5. I also bet the money line parlay. I didn't put that up on the VSiN Pro page. But Bryce Williams at the free throw line here, 26 seconds left. He's an 89% shooter, and he makes the first. So we're at 155, Tim. You need one more at least.
One more.
You need one more to push here.
I got a terrible
155 points. And Bryce Williams makes the second one, so you have at least a push with 26 seconds to go. 82-74. Sun Devils going to run it up. And
here's the worry. Go to the bucket.
He's going to the bucket.
There
he got it. The layup, 6-point game and over the total. So everybody who bet this over.
Total's now 3-0 in the crown.
Yeah, 3 overs. And we thought this was going to be an over tournament because the coaches are not going to micromanage possessions, take the air out of the ball. They're going to let the guys play a little bit. That's what we've seen the first 3 games. Will we see that in the 4th game tonight? The total?
162.
That's the highest total today, right, in that tournament? Yep.
All right. We know the final format. It is Florida going up against Auburn. It's Duke and Houston. There is a massive futures ticket out there, and he wants your help. We will discuss that on the other side. It is VSiN Primetime.
This is VSiN Primetime on VSiN, the sports betting network.
I'll tell you what, you never know what the day is going to bring, and that's what I love about this program. And who knew we'd be sitting here riveted by just strongly mediocre basketball. Nebraska and Arizona State, 86-78.
It made this show fly by tonight. The 4 hours
really
fly
did.
by. It helps when you win, too.
The over comes home in this game magically. And I'll say this, and I don't know if our friend Scott Van Pelt, I like to think of him as our friend, will get to turn this around fast enough. But, Matt, the point spread closed Nebraska -6.5.
Oh, boy.
Arizona State scores a bucket. Inbounds comes in with a second to go, and they foul with 0.7 of a second to go. Nebraska goes down, hits both free throws.
Bryce Williams at both free throws.
86-78, the final score.
Tim, when it's a 6-point game with 1 second to go. This happened when JVT and I were on air about a month ago, an NBA game. And why would you foul with a second to go when you're down 6? It makes no sense whatsoever. The game's over.
That
Arizona State was down 6 with a second to go. Foul with 0.7 of a second left, and Nebraska wins by 8 and covers all the numbers. Favored by 6, 6.5, 7. 8-point win for the Cornhuskers. And flies over the total, never a doubt about it.
Never in doubt. So totals, by the way, 3-0 so far, and we'll see if Georgetown and Washington State ultimately comes home. Earlier in the show, Matt and I both got in on Washington State plus 2.5 because of the news that was out there, and that was our best bet during the show. We also had some in-contest plays. I did play a little over as well, more of my theory on this one. Mm-hmm. So, hey, at worst, a 2-1 night for me on the totals, so we will take it. I did not play the Utah Butler over. But as always, our best bets here on VSiN brought to you by G-Bank, the official bank of VSiN. G-Bank is up in the ante, Matt, with up to a $750 bonus for new G-Bank Visa Signature Card customers. First, new customers who spend $1,000 on eligible purchases within 90 days from account opening receive a $250 bonus. In addition, if you spend $50,000 on gaming and sports app loads within 30 days of account opening, you'll receive another $500 bonus. That's potentially a $750 bonus. Apply now. VSiN.com/GBank, VSIN.com/GBank. Subject to credit approval. Terms and conditions do apply. All right. A couple of things to hit on before we get out of here, Matt. We saw someone chime in to you and a handful of others at VSiN with a question. This was from Robert Pilgrim on social media. He tagged you, Mitch, Paulie, Gil, and Brent. He put in a futures bet here at Circa on July 17th. He went to the window. He put down a dime on Florida to win the national title. $1,000, 80-1 on Florida. So he would win $80,000. His question, to hedge or not to hedge? That is the question. 'Tis the hour to consult the brain trust. So Robert Pilgrim at House Money 77 wants to know, Matt, he's got 80 grand right now on the line with the Florida Gators, who find themselves as 2.5-point favorites against the Auburn Tigers on Saturday night.
Yeah, it's interesting. I thought about this because I had a similar bet on St. John's, not as much. Last May, I bet St. John's at 80-1, $200 bet, and I bet St. John's later again at 50-1 for 100. So not as much as he's got riding here on Auburn. I think you have to. First of all, I always like to give myself a chance to win both ways, Tim. Mm-hmm. So do you want to take the 2.5 with Auburn? Do you want to take the money line plus 125, plus 130? I think, plus 125 here at Circa. I would not make a big pregame bet hedging this on Auburn. Let's see what you think here, but I would probably play around with like maybe $5,000 pregame on Auburn money line, maybe a little bit on the points, but also leave yourself the option to live bet this to where a Florida takes a lead at some point in this game, a decent lead where you can bet more on Auburn on the money line and bet more on Auburn. Let's say maybe you get plus 7.5 live or plus 5.5, something like that. You get plus 200 on the money line. You want to give yourself the option to bet more during the game live, and that way, because you don't have a lot. This is not a great hedging option when you're talking about plus 125 and plus 2.5.
Sure.
But you got to hedge something before the game. Maybe I would mess around with a combination of $5,000 in pregame bets, and then maybe bet more during the game. And then if you get to the championship game, then you haven't lost too much of the $80,000 profit. Maybe probably less than $10,000 you would have lost, right? So you still stand to win 70 on the ticket going into the game against Duke.
Yeah, and look, it's...
I don't like to hedge too much. I think some people might tell you to hedge more. Some would say don't hedge at all. I think you have to hedge something here.
Yeah, it's fascinating. We've got tweets coming in. People are chiming in on Twitter. We'll roll those through for you. He says, Frankie Bones says, hedge. First bet is $15K on Auburn plus 2.5. Still have a chance to win both, assuming Florida wins. Championship round, repeat the process on money line or spread.
Here's why I wouldn't bet $15K. That's what I said. How about you, Tim?
Now now you're eating into it, Eating
into a lot of your profit. You made a great bet last summer. You want to take advantage of it, but I don't like the plus 2.5. And the thing is, that's what I said. I would want to bet more live at a better number. If Florida gets out to a lead, you're going to get what? Plus 5.5, plus 7.5. You don't know what you can get. You can definitely get a better number where you have a chance to hedge and win both.
So you could also, he made the bet at Circa. He could also come to Circa and take the no and just easily hedge it at minus 355. Juicy price, obviously, however you want to go.
That's a big price.
Yeah, that is a huge price. So, yeah, there's lots of ways. I would hedge. I would agree with you. I think there's a way to go about that. All right, real quick.
How about if you bet pregame, you played 2,500 on plus 2.5 and 2,500 on the money line at plus 125, and then you set aside another 5,000 or more to live bet on Auburn as well.
Look, at the end of the day, you put $1,000 down, you got to walk away with profit, and there's ways to do it. I hedge. I think that way. Some point spread, you get an opportunity. I also think the money. I think that the in-game way is a way to go. All right, before we get out of here, I want to revisit something because we've been sweating out the Crown, but there's been a lot of questions regarding the Crown and why it is not available to be bet in a lot of states across the country. Earlier tonight, we had on the sportsbook director of DraftKings Sportsbook, Johnny Avello, and Matt asked him that very question.
Johnny Avello of DraftKings. Right now, Tim and I are watching and betting on the College Basketball Crown 16-team tournament here in Vegas at the MGM Grand Garden. And across the country, we're getting feedback from all sorts of states here, Tim. What is it? Indiana, Ohio, North Carolina, Arizona, Colorado.
Yep.
All over the place where these
Illinois.
games... Yeah, these games are not up on the board. Every Vegas book has them up, and we're betting these. Why are the College Basketball Crown games not up across the country? Do you know?
Well, what I could tell you is that we did have them up, and then we were told to take them down. And then the reason we were told to take them down is that the jurisdictions, I guess, didn't see this as one of the items we had on the menu for them to bet. And so, no, it's college basketball. It just wasn't something that was already approved. So then we took it down, and I don't know what the current status is of it right now. But I will check into it a little bit deeper to see, where it's going to be offered and if it's going to be offered and what jurisdictions that is. But that's what the case was with us. We just had to take it down because we did not have the approval from a few jurisdictions.
I guess that's in multiple states. And Tim, this is a confusing situation for a lot of bettors. Didn't you say one person we heard from put a bet in at DraftKings this morning and then had the bet voided?
I believe so, yeah.
Isn't that right?
Yeah.
So you had that situation happen, right, Johnny?
That's what we were told to do. Yeah, we were told by DraftKings was told by a jurisdiction to void all the bets that we already had taken. So that's why that happened.
Dan Keister chimes in. Update from Kansas. Caesars has taken the line down for Georgetown versus Washington State. And then he also says, I have thoroughly enjoyed watching the Crown. And then switching over to Matt Youmans and Tim Murray with the reaction, we are all winners. So thank you, Dan, for chiming in there. Very interesting to see how different states are going about the college basketball Crown. But tonight, you and I, all winners.
Johnny Avello also followed up with me with a text. He said, these games are not going to be offered by DraftKings in New Jersey, Ohio, and Illinois. And DK is waiting for approval before they put it up in a few other states. So very confusing, but also very entertaining tournament in Vegas tonight. And Derek Stevens of Circle is out there. Do we have that? Can we close the show with the photo of Derek Stevens sitting on
his throne? Overs now 3-0 to wrap it up. What a perfect way to send you off to Joe Serralo, the king on his throne. Derek Stevens, owner and CEO of Circa, sitting on the crown's throne there at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. Joe Serralo's up next. For Matt, I'm Tim. This has been VSiN Primetime.